live, goddamn. I don't know what the hell is going on. But we finally got it on. Alright. We in there? We in there. Alright. Shout out to everybody pulled up. We live in this thing. We live in this thing. Yeah, we live. That's what I'm talking about. Finally live with the political channel, big dog. And I'm finna get this thing jumping, humping and jumping real soon. Now, we live on Twitch, we live on Facebook, we live on YouTube. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Alright. So now, now that we got this thing going, alright, we got your boy Donald Trump. We here with the politics, big dog. We're here with the politics, man. Now, we're gonna be drinking water. We're gonna start out with something on a less harsh note. We got your girl, Caroline Leibowitz, talking about a lady missing.
I apologize for the delay. The president and I were watching the press conference about the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, which is just a heartbreaking situation. The president, as you all know, spoke directly with Savannah yesterday and told her that the federal government is here to help. Any requests that are made by state and local officials in the search of Miss Guthrie will absolutely be accommodated. I spoke with the FBI directly about that today as well. And our hearts and our prayers are with Savannah and her entire family as they search for her dear mother. I apologize for the delay. The president and I were watching the press. Peter.
Thanks, Caroline. President Trump posted about Nancy Guthrie that he is directing all federal law enforcement to be at the family's and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. What should we expect to see from the federal government in coming days in the search to find Nancy Guthrie?
It's a very good question, Peter, and it's why I was on the phone with the FBI earlier this morning to ask that. And what they told me is that the FBI, again, is at the disposal of the state and local government. Whatever personnel or assets or resources that the state and local authorities and police need will be granted to them at the direction of the president, the FBI director, and the attorney general.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She is funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain pain and grief. We are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She's 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We speak to you every moment, and we pray without ceasing, and we rejoice in advance for the day that we hold you in our arms again. We love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom. Stay strong.
We love you, Mom. We love you.
We just got a hold of something. We just got a hold of this police scanner audio from when Nancy was first reported missing on Sunday. I want to play it, and then I want to get to you, Brian, on your take on it. Let's take a listen.
Nancy, a white female, 84 years of age, 5'2" medium build, powder blue. After 2,200 hours as of yesterday. Nancy has high blood pressure, pacemaker, and cardiac issues.
Brian, that's key, right? When we talk about the medication, when we talk about the pacemaker, that is a race against time. What did you take away from that audio?
Yeah, I mean, I pick up on the pacemaker comment. We've reported that she has the pacemaker, that it connected to the Apple Watch, that the Apple Watch was charging, and that the last time the pacemaker connected to the Apple Watch was around 2 a.m., which is presumably around the time she was kidnapped, because that's why it stopped connecting to the Apple Watch. So that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was listening to it. But yeah, it's key just because she's an 84-year-old woman who needs her medication. And I think that's one of the reasons it's sort of a race against time here. As more time passes and she doesn't have the medicine, the outcome looks more and more grim.
What stood out to you about what was included in the video or possibly not included?
Well, the tone of Savannah's voice. She wanted to appear trustworthy, to say, I'm here to talk. We are here to listen. It was a receptive position. They want to engage the captor. They are desperate to hear back. If, in fact, this ransom note is real, this to me looks like a response to that ransom note, trying to engage the captor. You want to establish a rapport with the captor. This is classic FBI tactics in a type of hostage negotiation situation.
And why now? We're now in day 5, which is still extraordinary to me that we're still day 5, no closer it seems to a resolution in this case. Why do they put it out now? And clearly you said they're working with the FBI and putting out a note of this
Absolutely.
kind.
The FBI would have vetted that and been in on the timing. We're 5 days in. This could be a Hail Mary pass because they haven't established a line of communication. So at this point, they don't have anything to lose. This is a desperate plea to establish communication with the captors.
So if the captors do respond, what does the negotiation look like? What happens there?
Well, you have FBI specialists who are experts in creating a rapport with a criminal like a captor. Sympathizing with them, establishing a relationship. The ultimate end goal would to have that person turn themselves in and release Nancy.
It has to be very helpful, though, that everybody is watching this case and everybody's looking for clues. I was very struck that President Trump even called to offer his support in this particular case.
That's the best strategy right now because there isn't that line of communication. If there was a communication with the kidnapper, you would want that very quiet. You want that all to happen in the background and come to a resolution, and then you can come out and say, but because that hasn't been established, now you need everybody looking around. If you see something, say something. That is real, and that does help the police solve crimes like this.
Well, listen, something just happened, and it's something we had not discussed publicly from the letter, but they just revealed it. Remember, we said a deadline is looming. Well, they announced the first deadline. Remember, we said there are two. Right. The first deadline is today at 5 p.m. because they were asked, why did Savannah come out and do this when she did?
Right. And it's roughly 24 hours before.
And we assumed that when we were working this morning. Right. But 5 p.m. was the deadline. There is a second deadline. We're not going to say now why there's a second deadline, but something is supposed to change if they don't pay the money by the first deadline, but the second deadline is much more important. Right.
Oh, is there update?
They just said second demand for next Monday, so they did.
Oh, they did.
So they,
okay.
There you have it.
He did in that first, and
well,
now
what?
I think someone else asked a question.
Okay.
He said the second demand.
Okay.
Can I?
So we're going to do a pickup?
Why didn't we?
Yeah, we'll do the whole thing. So the FBI just revealed some things about the letter we received that we have not talked about yet. We mentioned that a deadline is looming. They have now said the deadline. It was today at 5 p.m.
Which made it clear, as we were discussing this morning, why did they wait? Why did they do this video, Savannah and her siblings, yesterday? And it, as we suspected, is because of that deadline. It was about 24 hours before it that they dropped that video.
Right, and there's a second deadline, and that second deadline is Monday. They've just announced that as well. I will say we're not going to say what gets triggered on each deadline, but the first one, the demands change.
The demands change.
And the second one is much more serious. Well, listen, something just happened, and it's.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. This is very suspicious that this older 84-year-old woman was kidnapped out of her home at 2 a.m. A lot of things is happening. This is very serious. To kidnap an 84-year-old woman and demanding a ransom is very strange. I'm wondering what type of inside job this is that someone would, I mean, this isn't Mexico, not we're not just down in Mexico, but we've seen what happens in Mexico. Like, what type of trouble is this family in, and what type of individuals does this family have ties to where people are kidnapping elderly people in their family, demanding money, where in all actuality, let's say they get the money, then what? Whenever you deliver the money and you give up the old woman, then what? You can't get away. This is not 1940. There's no getting away from this. You have the FBI, who has more technology and more weapons and more resources, unlimited, and how are you gonna distribute this money by crypto? I mean, exactly what are you going to do? And that's what I'm assuming that there is some type of electronic transfer that is going to happen. Which even then, once that electronic transfer goes through, immediately is you're getting flagged from whatever continent you're on, and wherever that money lies, it's gonna be tied up, and it will never move. And so it's it's mind-boggling to think that this would actually work. I don't see this plan working.
The kidnapping of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother has just gotten even stranger. Nancy Guthrie went missing sometime through the evening on January 31st from her own home, from her own bed. Police went to investigate, and they did declare the home a crime scene. They said Nancy did not leave on her own and was abducted. There was also a blood trail found outside of the home, and there were signs inside the house of an abduction. TMZ reported yesterday that they allegedly got a ransom note in their email that they handed in to police. The police did post a statement later that evening, said that they were aware of this and that they were looking into it and following up on any tips and leads. And then today, the former News Nation host Ashley Banfield announced that a law enforcement agent told her that the main suspect right now in the case of Nancy's kidnapping is actually her son-in-law. Her daughter Annie is married to Tommaso Cioni, and they are reportedly the last two people that saw Nancy on the evening of January 31st around 9 or 9:30 before she was missing. We know that Annie had supper with Nancy on Saturday night. We don't know if her husband was there, but we also know her family were the ones that called in the report of Nancy missing the next morning. Now, police have said they have no idea where Ashley Banfield got this information. She was also reporting that Nancy's car had been towed, and police say that's not actually the case. They said, we have not identified a suspect or person of interest in this case. Detectives continue to speak with anyone who may have contact with Mrs. Guthrie. We are also awaiting additional forensic results. The forensic results would be a result from the DNA that was found inside the home. They also said, we are not confirming the car being seized. We are unsure where that reporter is getting that information. So they're not confirming it, but they didn't say the car wasn't towed. So that's unclear. We do, however, know that law enforcement agents are in fact at Annie Guthrie's home, and they are searching for something. Reports are saying that there were a number of law enforcement agents around the home, but one report says that there was actually an officer there with an ICAC shirt on, which is Internet Crimes Against Children. TMZ was reporting that he actually was carrying a box. It had a strap over his shoulder, and they're saying the box is believed to be a forensic extraction device used to access data from smartphones, SIM cards, and more. The Celebrate Universal Forensic Extraction device that the agent appears to be carrying here can even retrieve encrypted data and deleted content. This situation is not looking good, and Nancy Guthrie is still missing. I will continue to post updates, so make sure you hit follow.
So I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there, but at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, and just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, which is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So that detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort. I think with that, let me make sure. Now, I want to clarify some things that I may have already done, but yeah, I've gone over with the blood at the front door, the doorbell camera. It was removed, we know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house. I don't know where that came from, but that's something we're not confirming. The car, the car that was at the home, it's just standard investigative practices. It's part of the search warrant scene, court orders. We pull it out of there and do our scene processing with the vehicle. Uber, we did speak to a driver because Nancy, we learned, had been taken the Uber to the family residence, the daughter, for dinner. And we located that driver and spoke with them and got that information. The house, you guys got this, I think, conducting follow-up. I think you said somebody had mentioned that they saw a team out there again last night or yesterday, and that's just, again, what I was talking about before. Our partners wanted a chance to see it and examine things themselves, and more importantly, it's just we're constantly following up on things and go, hey, what about this? So we want to go back and check on some things.
Breaking news happening out of Pima County, Arizona regarding the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. A news conference was just held a short time ago. Today is Thursday, February 5th, and it is 1:37 p.m. on the East Coast right now. So here's what we have. According to the sheriff, there are no suspects. They do not have a lot of information that they are releasing publicly. The sheriff said that there were surveillance cameras, but the cameras overwrote themselves. So basically it did not save the video into the cloud. So it doesn't appear as if they have any video accessible right now. So also, once again, they are saying that there has been an arrest with someone who was faking a ransom note. There was an imposter out there that was doing that. They also leave open the chance that there is a real ransom out there. And they say that it's the family's decision on whether to pay that or not, but they don't know if that's the case. So right now, still a lot of questions unanswered in this case. Not a lot of information coming out. Make sure you're following me right here. I will post a new video the minute I learn something new.
Yeah, of course, this is another strange situation. Somebody in the comments says Nancy did the interview with the Epstein survivors. Her husband worked for the Clinton administration. Both are hot topics in the news right now. Somebody's clearly sending a message to stay silent about something. That would be insane. It, like, to be doing that, like, that's overkill. Like, the political bullcrap is overkill. Like, y'all really trying to take up for damn Epstein and Bill Clinton. Like, come on, man. We know better than that. Like, just release the Epstein files, for Christ's sake. Like, those files are way overdue. You know what I mean?
And at the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party, after the first two quarters, are the TVs going to be on the halftime show with Bad Bunny or the halftime show with Kid Rock?
I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny. I must say that.
And at the Mar-a-Lago Super
Super Bowl licks is right around the corner, and everyone's excited for the Bad Bunny halftime show. And by everyone, I mean the radical woke communists who hate America.
The NFL just chose the Bad Bunny Rabbit or whatever his name, this guy who hates ice. And he doesn't sing in English.
Someone who hates America.
Who wants to watch a man wearing a dress anyway?
The lyric is, where are the horny ladies? One more dance and we're going to call the Vatican. I was in hell when I found a devil. I mean, is this who you want as your halftime entertainment?
So yeah, there's no way Americans are going to want to watch a performance by the most popular musician in America. But good news, there is a halftime alternative. And it's not just turning that 7-layer dip into a 7-layer poop.
If you want to tune out the woke nonsense that the NFL is promoting during the halftime show, then tune in to Turning Point USA's All-American Halftime Show. Their lineup just dropped, friends, and it's fire. Now this Sunday, Patriots like Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett are performing right when halftime starts for the NFL.
Man, that is a real who's who of who? We've got Gabby Barrett, Brantley Gilbert, Garby Billett, Billy Garbett, Breely Grabbers, Bobby Glaber, Gaggy Bobbles, Barnacle Gasperty, Babette Gingletree, Hologram Hulk Hogan, Gregory Banklebob, Kid Rock, and Kid Rock's father, Adult Rock.
So the Trump fans are still saying they're going to boycott the Super Bowl, and now Turning Point USA has just announced their lineup for a Super Bowl halftime show. And if you're expecting it to be pathetic, you'd be absolutely right. They said the lineup for the All-American halftime show is here. Watch Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett this Sunday. I'm not trying to be rude here when I say this. I'm not trying to be like that. I have no idea who any of these people are except Kid Rock. I thought they were made-up names. I mean, seriously, Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, these cannot be real people. And they're excited about this halftime show? What are they doing? So look, if the MAGA fans want to subject themselves to whatever the hell that is, I implore them to do that. That's great. Go have fun. The normal people will be watching the Super Bowl, will be watching Bad Bunny and Green Day, and all of the great artists perform while they do that. So
I'm going to just say this. You can't rain on a parade. I mean, it'd be just like any other concert. It's just during the halftime show. I mean, let them have their fun, okay? Like, everybody don't like Bad Bunny, and who cares? You know what I mean? I really don't care. I'm not looking forward to it at all. You know, I'm not looking forward to Bad Bunny at all, honestly. I mean, I barely watch Kendrick Lamar, so it's not like the halftime show or the Super Bowl, for that matter, is that popular these days anyway. But we're still going to be watching it. We're still going to be watching the Super Bowl, whether we're sitting around having a few beers and drinking and talking shit, or we're going to be actually tuned in. But if they want to turn the channel and watch the All-American Turning Point USA, let them watch it. I mean, they're going to be sitting around cheering. I mean, if that is going to show that how American they are, that they will turn off football to turn on an All-American Turning Point USA. If that proves how American they are, let them do it. Because whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you sleep at night, that makes you feel like you're an American. But although they say it's woke America, it's not woke America. They were very upset about this. Was doing this is Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance last year. Really set off the I don't know what to call them, the MAGAs. Set off the MAGAs. It really set them off. MAGA Mike was upset about the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance. So, you know.
White House officials say ICE agents will be at the Super Bowl this year. The big game is coming to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara in February. Special government employees at the Department of Homeland Security, Corey Lewandowski, made the comments on a podcast saying there is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in the country illegally. Not the Super Bowl, not anywhere else.
You literally gonna have ICE. Now, I would say that anyone who is at the Super Bowl and is not an illegal citizen, or is not a legal citizen, is absolutely insane. You're not a legal citizen, but you're at the Super Bowl. I don't think that's like the right place to be shaking down people for honestly, because it's Bad Bunny is the only reason why they would do it. Because it's in California is the only reason why they would do it. It's a real shitty thing to do, but it's right up the MAGA train's alley, to put a big ICE presence where there's a Latino performer. I think anywhere that there's going to be a Latino performing, you'll see a heavy presence of ICE from here on out. And I believe ICE is just going to get bigger. And it's unfortunate, the terroristic stuff that they doing. ISIS terrorists. ICE is turning into ISIS, honestly. But hey, look, it is what it is. This is what America is resulting to, and we got to live with it.
The NFL's nightmare scenario has officially arrived. A few days ago, we discussed reports that fans were planning to tune out of the Super Bowl halftime show in protest of Bad Bunny. But now, that protest has evolved into a full-blown rival production with a star-studded lineup that's looking to steal millions of viewers away from Roger Goodell. Now, Turning Point USA has officially announced the launch of the All-American Halftime Show, and the lineup they've secured is sending shockwaves through the music industry. And we now know exactly who is stepping up to challenge the NFL on February 8th. The event will be headlined by Kid Rock, but he isn't doing it alone. He's recruited a powerhouse.
Listen, they're not stealing millions of viewers from the Super Bowl halftime show, okay? Mind you, it doesn't matter who's watching. Millions of people turn away from the halftime show anyway, no matter who's playing. Because listen, if you're not into whatever artist is playing, if it's not Rihanna, or if it's not Beyonce or Michael Jackson, we're talking, or when it was 50 Cent and Eminem and Dr. Dre, I don't think anybody is, or Bruno Mars. Like, you really have to be a captivating artist to keep everyone in their seats during the halftime show. There's not very many artists. Bruce Springsteen didn't do it. Kendrick Lamar didn't do it. I can't tell you who else. Nelly and them, they didn't do it. Janet Jackson kinda did it. Who else? I mean, the list goes on and on of people who really did. I remember Usher was up there one year, skating around. Who knows? Like, we didn't sit there. We probably turn around and watched, was talking through the whole performance, and people shut up, this is my song. Like, y'all ain't never heard the song before. Just watch it and think about what he's saying.
Roster of country music heavyweights, including Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett. So now this is no longer just a boycott. This is a declaration of war on the direction of professional sports like the NFL. Kid Rock, who's leading the charge, issued a blistering statement that
Yeah, if you even look suspiciously Mexican, stay your ass at home.
summarizes why this alternative show is happening. He took a direct shot at the NFL's choice of entertainment, contrasting his upcoming performance with what viewers can expect from the official broadcast. Kid Rock said, quote, he said he's having a dance party, wearing a dress and singing in Spanish. Cool. We want to play great songs for folks who love America. That comment about the dress refers to reports that Bad Bunny plans to wear a dress during the Super Bowl halftime show. We'll see what happens, but when you combine that with the fact that Bad Bunny has publicly criticized ICE agents and expressed fears about his fans being deported, it's clear the NFL is facing a massive cultural divide, with the organizers of the All-American halftime show leaning heavily into that divide, billing the event as a David versus Goliath battle. But the reality is, Goliath is already stumbling. The rival show couldn't have come at a worse time for Roger Goodell because he's already dealing with the mutiny inside his own building. As we previously reported, ESPN has confirmed that prominent NFL owners are furious about the Bad Bunny selection. One anonymous owner reportedly told Goodell directly that he, quote, should have thought through the decision better. They aren't just worried about the culture war, they're worried about money for the NFL. The NFL is currently trying to close a massive ownership deal with ESPN that requires government antitrust approval. The owners are terrified that if Bad Bunny turns his halftime show into an anti-Trump political rally, President Trump will retaliate by killing the ESPN deal. So now Roger Goodell is fighting a two-front war. On the inside, he has owners warning him that the halftime show might cost them billions in business deals. And on the outside, he now has Kid Rock and Brantley Gilbert stealing his audience. And this rival show isn't just streaming on a smartphone. They've secured major distribution. The show will air at 8 p.m. Eastern, directly opposite the NFL halftime show on YouTube, Rumble, and X. But perhaps the most concerning for the NFL is it will also be broadcast on cable television through Sinclair Broadcast Group's Charge Network, which is available on major services like YouTube TV, Hulu, and Sling. This gives the millions of Americans who feel alienated by the NFL a legitimate, high-quality place to go. And President Donald Trump has already signaled his distaste for the NFL's selection, calling it ridiculous and stating that he doesn't even know who Bad Bunny is. Now the president and his supporters have a tailor-made alternative featuring artists who have been unapologetic about their love.
But he knows who Lee Bryce is. He knows who Brantley is, or who?
Love for America. This also explains why stars like Brantley Gilbert and Lee Bryce were never in the conversation for NFL events. The industry has simply moved in a different direction. But these artists are proving they don't need the NFL's permission to put on a massive halftime show. So the choice on February 8th is now official. You can watch Bad Bunny and Green.
They're not putting on an NFL halftime show. They're putting on a show during the halftime for people who want to watch them during the halftime. They're not putting on a halftime show. They're not even at the game. You weren't invited. That's it. That's all. Move on, folks. Like, it's okay to have a concert and you don't want to watch the NFL. Okay, great. That's awesome. But to compete with the NFL because you want to do this, it is the only thing I can think about is they want to make it bigger next year. They want to make it bigger next year. This isn't going to keep up.
I think it's very ironic and frankly sad to see celebrities who live in gated communities with private security, with millions of dollars to spend protecting themselves, trying to just demonize, law enforcement, public servants who work for the United States government to enforce our nation's laws. And you didn't hear this same type of uproar from celebrities in Hollywood when the previous administration allowed an invasion of our nation's borders. I think it's very...
The rhetoric. You know, one thing is clear. One thing they said was Obama deported more immigrants, illegal immigrants, than Donald Trump. So where's the uproar with that? Joe Biden deported more illegal immigrants than Donald Trump. Where's the uproar with that? Well, if they did, in which the numbers show that they did. It seems they took a less violent, a more, a less political, and a more judicial way of deporting illegal immigrants. It seems to me that it was working to a certain extent where the numbers were inflated. But you can't, if the numbers were inflated, you can't use the numbers and say, oh, well, he did more, he deported more. Then you can't use those numbers. So it's either one or the other. Some people, some Republicans are saying, oh, they inflated the numbers because these were immigrants stopped at the border, so they just said that they were deported. But then they say, but they deported more illegals than Donald. So which one is it?
Is the administration concerned that the shakeup that we're seeing of DHS activity in Minneapolis could potentially embolden different obstructionist protesters around the country as they now have a playbook on how to get ICE out of their cities?
No, because what you saw yesterday with the drawdown of 700 agents only occurred because the condition that the President of the United States set for local counties to turn over illegal aliens to ICE has been met. The vast majority of counties, nearly every single county now in Minnesota, has made an agreement to notify ICE when they are releasing an illegal criminal from their jail. This is a huge win for the administration.
Is the administration concerned?
Caroline, we look forward to any follow-up on that. Meanwhile, you heard as we were leading into you this continued anti-ICE rhetoric that is coming from Democrats on the Hill. Democrats claiming that DHS is the greatest threat to American security. You heard from one of them just a moment ago. This is the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, on the Senate floor, Caroline, on Speaker Johnson being pro-secret police. We'll get your reaction. Watch.
Every citizen knows when they meet a police officer, a sheriff, their ID is clear on them. That's always been the accountability that we've had for decades and decades. And Noam thinks, and some people think, like Speaker Johnson thinks, we shouldn't do it. Why is Johnson pro-secret police? It's absurd for the Speaker and others like him to argue that masked ICE agents should get special treatment.
Caroline, what's the White House response to that?
I think it's incredibly irresponsible for elected Democrats to refer to ICE agents and Border Patrol agents who have their jobs, by the way, because of the laws that were enacted and passed by the United States Congress. These are legitimate law enforcement organizations that rest within the Department of Homeland Security that have been enforcing our nation's border and our nation's immigration laws for years. I didn't hear Chuck Schumer or Democrats speaking that way of ICE agents under President Barack Obama, who deported hundreds of thousands of criminal illegal.
Oh, there they go. There they go. So is it one way or another?
Aliens from our country. That's all President Trump, Secretary Noem, and this entire administration are seeking to do. Targeted law enforcement operations of illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws, especially those who have committed heinous acts of violence against the American.
But how did President Obama deport all these hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants and no bodies were dropped? No protests were had. I just figured that out and stop the raids. Stop the bodies being dropped. Stop the protests. It wasn't that it was Obama so the Democrats weren't protesting. Republicans was y'all upset with were y'all not upset with Obama deporting illegal immigrants, or were y'all cool with it back then? Y'all were okay with it, cause it sounds like y'all wasn't okay with it. The more y'all complain about it, y'all be like, well, he did it. Why can't I do it? He did it. Were y'all not okay with it? Cause what's the problem? if he did it, and you guys are doing the problem is you guys are putting these people in detention centers and you're not shipping them out. I think if Obama was deporting them, he was giving them due process and getting them out of here. He wasn't putting them in concentration camps. People weren't going missing. People weren't dying, or maybe they were. It was just kept a secret. I don't know. Could y'all have not kept it a secret? Why is all this information getting out? Why is it happening under your administration that all of this information, like, it's like it was this whole secret society when President Obama and Joe Biden was in office. Like, they had this cult like following that kept everything silent, and no one got killed, and no families were separated. But now all of a sudden, when Donald Trump becomes president, hell breaks loose. I don't believe it. Something went wrong.
People. And it is a mandate that the president was elected upon to secure our homeland and to carry out these deportations. And it's something he will never waver in his commitment in, because why? A country without borders, a country without laws will cease to be a country at all. Now, there can be policy discussions and debates about how those tactics are enforced. And I know Congress will be having those discussions in the coming days. But as far as the underlying principle of enforcing our nation's laws and protecting our border, that is something this president will never waver on, because he knows it's what the American people elected him to do.
Barack Obama actually deported millions of illegal
That's
aliens. I was covering that back in 2013,
Yes, you were.
2014. And I do not remember, to the best of my knowledge, protests erupting across America on the streets denouncing what he was doing. So the funding bill is making its way through Congress. A number of Republican members of the House insisting that the
Caroline, we look forward to any follow-up on that. Meanwhile, you heard as we were leading into you this.
You know, they were saying about Kristi Noem yesterday. I did the Super Bowl interview. Sir, are you going to relieve Kristi Noem of her duties? No. Oh. I said, why would I do that? We have the strongest border in the history of our country. We have the best crime numbers we've ever had, going back to the year 1900. That's 125 years.
You know, the left and Democrats dare to harass, threaten, and dox our officers, assault the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security and our federal law enforcement. And they try to say that enforcing our immigration laws and arresting and deporting illegal criminals and violent criminals is inhumane. Well, what about the victims of that illegal crimes? What about the flow of drugs that were coming over our border and killing our next generation of Americans? What about the angel families who lost someone that they dearly love, that they'll never have back again and don't have a future with? They don't talk about the Laken Rileys, the Jocelyn Nungarys. They don't talk about the Rachel Morans. And they don't talk about the thousands of Americans that we've lost to drug overdoses and to poisonings. In fact, the flow over this border of illegal fentanyl has been cut in half since President Trump has been in office. You know, the left.
You know, these are numbers we will never know, because as long as it's just word salads. We can say all this, been cut in half. The economy's up, the economy's booming, jobs are up, just everything is good, nothing's bad, America's doing great. But then at the same time, we look outside, ICE agents are killing people. Crime is crazy. Regular Americans are being harassed. Grocery stores are overcharging people. Deliberately overcharging people. Prices of everything is up. And many people are trying to figure out how they gonna feed their family. Many people are trying to figure out how they going. Well, a lot of people have second jobs. Many people are door dashing. Many people are working at Amazon. People are getting laid off. As people are getting laid off, more people are coming on, finding other ways, using their personal vehicles, not understanding how to write off their expenses, and losing money as they go. They're just working for the immediate fun, but not using it to their advantage. America is losing. Not the country, the people. The American people are losing. Tune in tomorrow. We're going live again. We're going live again. We're going to get this political channel. Let's see here. I'm going to be dropping all these videos too. Follow my political channel. This video is going to be up. So make sure you. This is my political channel. Make sure you follow that on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok, Twitch. We're going live every day. We're gonna get these politics jumping. We're starting a whole new algorithm for politics. We doing this thing live on Everyday Politics. This your boy PJ. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you on Twitch. We're gonna get it lit every day. Every damn day, forever. All right, I'll holler at you later. Peace.